What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride. Welcome to another episode of What If You Could. This is part two of our episode with Cindy Leos, where Cindy chats about the comeback from the disappointment of her attempts to make the Lakers girls, along with how she finds another path, maybe a more meaningful path. So, welcome to episode two with Cindy Leos.
But I got cut at the end of the day, so I wasn't hard on myself. And then I just started, just kind of just being a little observant of watching. I always kept track of like who was a Laker girl, and because you could clearly see they have, they have their demographic that they fill out. There's X amount of brunettes and blondes and redheads and black girls. Like they mix it up. So like I knew it wasn't me. It wasn't that that I was fat or my dancing or anything like that.
They already had one of you.
They already had, yeah. And I knew, I'm like, okay, it's just a matter of time between like one of those two girls when they decide, because they had been there for a while. Back then those girls were there like 6 to 9 years, like they were there for a while. So I remember because it was that final cut of the day, so a lot of us got cut, and I overheard girls talking about the Clipper Girl audition the following week. And I guess typically Clippers usually have their audition before Lakers, so this was like a rare occasion that it was, after. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go. Like, why not? Like the experience will be fun. I don't mind auditioning, so I went to the Clipper Spirit audition, and I got that. So that was 99, and I danced for the Clippers, which that was at the Staples Center. That was the inaugural season at the Staples Center. So it was when Staples Center was a baby. And so I had that experience. Clippers was a good experience. The team itself, they won 14 games that season.
They were
I
not
did
good.
dance. I worked every game, 42 games. I danced at every one of them.
Their former owner was not a great guy. So, yeah, they
Yeah.
never really did well. Even in San Diego, they never
Yeah.
did well. He was a
Yeah.
real douchebag. So.
I'm so happy for them. They have their wonderful owner now, and they have their own, arena now. Like
Steve
it's a
Ballmer's the
new
real
era.
deal, man. That guy's got shitloads of money and he loves basketball and he will do anything to make that team win. So their Clippers really
Yeah.
lucked out on
Yeah.
them. But
Yeah.
so you're in this massive new, like state-of-the-art stadium. You're not getting the juice that the Lakers are getting, but still, you're in LA, you're on the floor, you're a Clippers girl. That still had to be pretty awesome.
It was great. The fans were really um the Clipper fans are great. Like they're energetic, they're involved. And we had uh Bill Walton was, a commentator all the time. And so I would always talk to him, and Ralph Lawler. They were great. He was such a, just a, I love that big redhead. Um,
And he
but
was
I
big.
got that. Yeah.
Damn, he was what, 7'2" or something like that? Shoot,
Something
that's
like
a
that.
huge guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And just, great personality. But yeah, at least, I got that experience of, I knew I had the Spark Kid experience, but this was as an adult, doing, all, women dance team. And so that was like, I felt so prepared. I was confident, like, okay, like they have to take me now. And so the following year I did audition, and I decided, because that year Clipper auditions was first and then Lakers. So, I had to, I'm missing the audition. So I'm banking on getting Laker Girls, or I'm not doing anything the following season because I'm missing Clipper Girl auditions.
Yeah.
And I did finally make it. And I actually got the call that I made the team when I was working at GNC.
Awesome. That's awesome. It was just those things were meant to be in that order for you. They just were. They just were. And so,
And that's where it's like patience of, not being such a control freak. You can't control everything. You only have control of yourself.
yeah. But you could
And,
have also really gone down a bad rabbit hole on yourself. You really could have beat yourself up. You really could have lost faith in yourself. You really could have dropped it, but you didn't. That's a lot of credit to you because it's not easy. I've done auditions and stuff like that, and it's not easy. I mean, it could really be soul sucking to go and do that, and then to not get things you really wanted can compound that. But you went after it. You tried different things, different angles, and you got it.
yeah, I mean, I think, it goes to just me growing up, because I started auditioning, age 7 years old. So there were a lot of things that I wanted, and I didn't get. Um, and even going on Star Search, like that was such a great thing, but then you're on, TV losing. And so I think the second time we went on and we lost again, that was a little defeating. Like it was just like, oh, um, but it's like you kind of have to develop like a muscle of quickly forgetting and just, figuratively getting back on the horse.
Yeah. So after the Laker girls, you just say, I'm going to do something completely different. I want to keep dancing, but I want to do something different.
Well, after Laker Girls, I actually went back and I worked for the Sparks in the entertainment department. And I probably did that for about, I think, 2 years. Um,
What does that
and
mean?
then I
What is
was
that? What is entertainment
in the
department?
entertainment department. So I helped with the Spark Kids. I booked all of the halftime entertainment.
Mm.
And I ran the Sparks fan club.
Oh, right on.
So I was in the office every day, and then the offices back then were across the street from the forum, and so just run over, for games.
Yeah.
So I did that, because it was always kind of in the back of my mind, and I'm still not opposed to it. Of like, I would, love to be like the Laker Girl director. So it was kind of like that was like something like, oh, this is like kind of getting my feet, wet for that,
I
getting
don't
that
I don't put
experience.
anything past you. I mean, I think when you decide what direction you're gonna go, you're just gonna get it.
It's
So
all about making that decision, and right, like right now I'm like, um I
But
don't
this
know,
this we kind of have
but
a fun little
I
connection with the Pussycat Girls because I actually think my past wife and I were at a show where you danced in, and you may have been the one who threw that glove to me because it
yeah,
had
the
to
show
be
very well, so and
it
I
had to
did
be
throw my glove right out.
yeah, it had to be 2008 or
Yeah, I was
2009.
for sure there. You for sure see me during that time.
That's such a trip, and I still have that glove.
That's
As you could
amazing.
tell by my shelves, my bookshelves, I'm a keeper of stuff. Not a hoarder, but I like my stuff.
I love that.
But that's funny. I'm gonna
Memories.
dig that up and I'm gonna get that out and do a DNA test like Cinderella. I'm gonna put that glove on you, and if the glove
See if it
don't fit,
fits.
let
You
me
must have
know.
quit.
But we know for
Yeah.
sure. So what's it like being in Vegas? Because that's a really great show. If anyone has
Yeah,
not
so
seen the Pussycat Dolls, that's a great show.
that was a few years later, because I did, a bunch of other shows. I did another show on this trip in Vegas. I Before Pussycat Dolls, I was doing a burlesque show in Atlantic City. So I was like living in Atlantic City for 7 months. And because I auditioned for Pussycat Dolls before it was opening, and I didn't get it. And I had just finished this contract for this show. We were on a break. And so I was back in LA, and Pussycat Dolls was having an audition. And so I went to the audition, and then I got a call the next day. You got it, but you have to be in Vegas tomorrow. I was like,
Of
okay,
course.
I'll be there.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, be here. You have to be here Wednesday. You're going to learn the choreography and go on the show that night. So that's where like I'm thankful for all my past stuff because I never saw them do that with anyone else.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of pressure because I actually simultaneously was rehearsing for another show that I was doing. So I had all of this choreography going on in my brain. Couple breakdown moments of like, I just need a couple minutes. But
I love
but I did it.
and I love the Pussycat Girls because it's not some sexy kind of raunchy kind of Vegas show, but it's almost like an old school burlesque or an old school um show with a lot of
Yes, it's
fun
taking it
to
back.
it. Really beautiful gals doing their thing, but it's fun and sexy and it was light. We really liked it. I mean, my wife and I think went back a couple of times, but we really liked the show. It was a great show.
Yeah, it was fun. It would, that was a time, because that's how Pussycat Dolls first originated before they turned into the pop group. They were a stage burlesque show and, took it back to kind of that old school, made it a little more new age. They did it. There was the show at the Viper Room. They would have celebrities come in. And so then they became the recording group. Then the Pussycat Doll Lounge
I didn't
opened
even
in Caesar's
associate
Palace.
those. I didn't even associate those two. The Pussycat Group
Yeah.
music group morphed from the Pussycat Dolls
Yes.
show. I never even put that together. I didn't know that. That's pretty
Yes.
cool. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I remember, it was a great show, but I don't remember what the Pussycat Dolls group did. But what I
Well,
do
because we still
remember
did
is
like some of their music. We did like, because that's when they had Don't Ya.
mhm,
That was like their popular song. And we did do in the second act, but it was a slow down jazzy version.
mm, yeah, that makes sense.
But they were really popular at that time. That was why like it all worked.
How did that what a transition because I don't know for people who have not been in the Staples Center, it is freaking a big place, right? I mean, it's a
Mm-hmm.
big place. Was it hold 20,000 people or
I think it's about
18,000
it's 18,
people?
yeah, 18 plus
18
and
plus
18,000,
thousand. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's a big ass place. Now, when you go see the Pussycat Dolls, it's a very intimate, kind of
Very intimate.
smoky, kind of loungy, burlesque thing. I mean, what a difference, right? Going from
Yes.
this massive thing to this intimate. I guess the intimate had to be fun, right?
Intimate's fun, because it's so intimate. So you can make eye contact. It's more, for me, playful. Um, I mean, we could literally be touched by someone where, that close. I like intimate. I like I'm first and foremost, I love live performance. There is a difference of like when you're on, a stage, say if you're doing something, like a Broadway where you can't really see the audience. So you're just, you can feel them. You can feel that energy. But yeah, Pussycat Dolls was, I mean, it was almost interactive in a way.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it was interactive because I remember how you guys were flirtatious with the people. And of course there's couples there's husbands and wives and whatever,
Lots of couples.
but it was fun flirtation. It was playful, and like I said, throwing of
The
that
glove, yeah, I
long
played the little
glove.
striptease and
Yeah, it
yeah,
was awesome. And when, of course, I had to catch it. I think I knocked down three other dudes to get it. It's kind of like a
love
foul
it.
ball at a baseball game, but sexier. But it was really fun. It was like an intimate kind of burlesque kind of thing, and we liked it a lot. Yeah, we did. And you did that 4 years?
I did that show for 4 years.
Yeah.
four
How
years. And I
fun.
probably if it if it didn't close, I probably would have continued doing it. It was
Yeah.
fun. It was, and then for me, I mean, I think at that point, like I didn't know what was next. And and to be completely honest, like that was like a very scary feeling
Yeah.
when you're just like, okay, I've done like kind of everything that I wanted to do. Where do I go from here? And I think that's probably what most people experience in the arts. And I never had any aspiration of like choreographing, and that typically is like an involvement from a dancer to choreographer. And that was something that was like, still like not my thing. Um, and other girls, they had other shows that they had, their eyes on. Um, but yeah, so that was a pivot moment.
It seems like for you though, you've had a lot of those where you kind of hit these different things and your ability to pivot is really strong because, like we talked about on the phone, that's a very wicked business. The dance entertainment like that, it can be really tough on you. And you were able to always kind of pivot this way or that way. And then I guess is that when you found like the Pilates and the yoga and the different type of teachings and
Yeah,
things like that?
because too, like, yes, I would go to the gym. I would go to the gym. Just I was one of those girls that would just go to the gym and do cardio.
Yeah.
Um, but it was doing Pussycat Dolls because we are in these stiletto pump boot heel,
It almost made you
and
5'4".
hey,
Hey,
maybe I
hey, no
mean
short jokes. I'm
I may
short.
have even been a little over 5'4". Um, just doing that show dancing, wearing those shoes, I had chronic knee pain. And so went to physical therapy. And in physical therapy, I was introduced to Pilates. And I I just loved it. How I felt, it really improved. Pain went away, started noticing changes within my body. It just gave me a whole different appreciation of my body and a different connection because I had a strong connection from my training, but this definitely was the birth of my my love for somatic movement because it really just it brings you more into your inner experience.
Well, dance, as beautiful as it is, and as easy as you guys make it look, dance is really tough on the body. I mean, it's really tough on your joints, your legs, your ligaments, your back, your knees. I mean, it really is tough. Well, all those years of your training eventually has to somehow take a toll, you'd imagine.
Well, I think that's why, you see, especially like your ballet dancers, it's the repetitive movements. You learn your foundation, your technique, and that's just like programmed in you. But you're constantly working in external rotation, which, you're going to get some sticky calcification in those joints because they're always working in a certain way. And then maybe you're not working in the opposite way, which was like definitely my case. Because even growing up, I remember my ballet teacher like to, never work on internal rotation. No, 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 no. External, you got to work on your turnout. If anything, you have to work on your turnout. And I don't have great turnout. So that was something I had to work on. Um, but it all, I mean, it's all connected. So to have mobility in both directions is just going to be beneficial for anybody. So yeah, of kind of, correcting those sort of things. I think probably one of the things in Pussycat Dolls, I tried counting. I just lost track of how many head rolls we did in that because we whipped our head.
Yeah.
And I had hair extensions because we had to have a look. And I mean, there was times where, with my head, and then you hear like this, um,
Snack, cracker, pop.
yeah. And then you're like, oh my God, like I can't move, and we were all like that because we did hundreds.
Uh,
I lost track. So neck thing is still one of the things I have to always be super conscious of, even when I take class now, like of just taking it easy. Because you have this, and I see it, it's like programmed in all dancers of even you're going to class, there's this, I don't know if it's from that people pleasing or you got to do good, you got to give it your all and you got to be full out, but of people like in pain, but still trying to do it. And me, I'm like, oh, hell no. Like, it's, this isn't but and even the dance teachers will kind of get on you, and it's like, hold on 1 minute, this is a dance class, this isn't a paid gig, this isn't an audition. I'm here for me because I love dance, and I'm here to support this dance teacher that I love, and I like being around dancers, and how much we just like love like having music and dancing and learning choreography and making it ours. Because that's now how I come at it, where it's like, I'm not here to prove anything,
Yeah.
this is for me, and if something doesn't feel good, I'm going to change it and make it feel good for me. Some teachers don't like that. I've gotten, that flack, but I have to like talk to myself, talk to that inner child critic, whatever, and just be like, let it go. Like that's
Yeah.
their thing, it's not you, you're here for you, let it go. But of just really taking care of this vessel, because I'm still very young. And when I take class, typically the dancers I take class with are older. And so you kind of hear all the old talk, I like to say, which I definitely understand, and I'm not discrediting that. But if we just start to unravel some of that, like what I'm doing with my somatic movement, we can kind of change that, navigate a
What
different.
walk me through, because like I said, I mean, I've interviewed breath workers and energy healers and psychics, and I've loved nutrition my whole life. I love that the yoga and the physicality and the manifesting and the meditation, even though I can't or I'm unable to meditate. But that's
Meditate
one
is,
thing
is challenging for me too.
I've never heard of somatic
Somatic movement, yeah,
movement therapy.
well, even Pilates can fall under the umbrella of somatic movement.
Hmm.
Like we see with yoga and other movement practices, everything's gotten fitness. It's been made more like as a workout or a fitness. Got
Hmm.
to, sweat, and got to get the burn, and got to get the pump, and got to move, 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 move. So kind of taking it out of that. Um, where like like a yoga class would be an hour and a half in the past, where it's just peeling back of the layers, so you can work really deep, and it's not about getting the burn, it's an inner experience. And so that's really what somatic movement is about. It's about being fully present. So being in your body, of dropping into your body, what does it feel like to be in your body if you're just stepping into this bodysuit of yours. And so first thing I like to do is like, I will do that. I talk myself through that, of like arriving in my body, allowing the energy to settle and tuning inward. So what are the sensations that I'm feeling? Does anything kind of pop out? Maybe I have a little area that there's a little bracing that doesn't want to let go. And then can I just acknowledge it? Because sometimes just the acknowledgement itself, it just softens. So the soma is your living body. Somatic is being fully present in the inner experience of your body. So we're not thinking about, when am I going to get to the grocery store, what I have to do tonight. We are fully present in our body. The movements are typically slow, they're intentional, slow, deliberate movements using the breath, and moving at a speed basically in which you can track to sense if any tension creeps in, if you can soften it, where you can begin to release the held tension in your body.
Is it a form of almost merging meditation with yoga with Pilates, kind
You
of
can
a
say that. And because I know we had talked about that, of like, oh, is it like a blend of, Pilates and yoga? And those could all be somatics. It's not so much about what it looks like with the movement process. It can be, but it's kind of your expression of the movements. We, give guidance. It's a guided
but there is
practice.
movement involved. There's move
There
you're
is movement. There's movements. So like I am just writing out, filming one portion of it, which basically is just like an all releasing, like so going through your entire body through movements to release held tension. So whether if it's in your hips, your back, and then you have your grounding resources, which it could be the ground supporting you and really feeling how you're supported and how you can give your weight to the floor. Also using your eyes, if orienting yourself to your environment, because those all center you and calm the nervous system, because that's basically it's bringing your nervous system into a regulated state.
And
So it's like,
is that where the, because what I've read, um, you know, wanted to chat with you about it is for a lot of people use the somatic movement therapy for
okay.
trauma relief, past traumas, past aches, a lot of mental things that people, a lot of the stuff, like I tell my mom, she's 88 and she's crazy and she always has an upset stomach. And so she wants to keep going to the doctor for her stomach. I
Mhm.
said, Mom, there's nothing wrong with your stomach, right? We've had 987 tests and scans. It's your brain, right? Your brain is causing all this stress in your stomach, right? So
Mhm.
when you're working with people, is that part of it too? You're trying to release old traumas and old hurts and stuff?
Yeah, that's all a part of it. I mean, because basically, you know, it's, I mean, our modern day society really doesn't support us living in an embodied way. So we've become disconnected to our bodies. We're in our heads, multitasking, doing. And we see this a lot more with women. And I think it's, probably a little more hardwired in the blueprint of who they are, of for motherhood, where they have a capacity to handle a lot, and so they do a lot and they're doing multitasking, just and then they are exhausted and they have all of these other negative symptoms that they're experiencing, the stress, hormonal issues, they can't sleep, gut issues, weakened immune systems. And you know your body is constantly giving you signals. It's constantly maybe whispering, maybe yelling at you,
Yeah.
but are you listening?
Yeah.
And so many people, what do we do? No, we got a job to get done, so we push through it. We're in this Western society of productivity, so they push through it. You push it aside. You ignore it,
Or even worse,
dull
you
it.
go to a doctor and they give you Xanax and then they give you, Vicodin and then they give you,
Yeah,
here's just for your
and then
brain,
that
here's just for
just
the pain, and it just buries it and buries it.
and then that's just like setting up for more disease.
Hmm.
So this process is tuning into your body, of listening to your body and those symptoms. um and it's really powerful, because I'll just do one session with someone, and like this one girl that comes to mind, and she's has gut issues, and after doing one session for a week, her stomach was fine. So yes, it's a practice,
Hmm.
but the goal is to become embodied and to live in an embodied way, so you notice when those outside stressors come, and it's like you'll that feeling starts of just like taking a pause,
Hmm.
noticing your breath quality. How's your breath? Is it short and fast? Can we maybe lengthen and deepen? Can you acknowledge what you're feeling and just be with it, like it's okay? It's almost, I look at it as like my inner child, just needing, it's okay,
Yeah.
it's okay,
Yeah.
slow down, it's okay. Everybody, we've been conditioned, movement has to be fast, and we got to, you know if you're not sweating, you're not working hard enough. um, I remember in ballet class, we used to get in so much trouble. Heaven forbid if we yawned. Am I boring you? Do you want to leave
and that's
class?
and that's the gal with the paddle, right?
I don't know if it started then, but I remember even her. I remember one, and this is still a lesson I remember. We were, I think, learning some kind of a dodge, and we're holding positions, and one little girl, she had an itch, and so she's scratching, and that classical music turned off, and you never do that during a performance, and like that stuck with me, which is, yeah, in this performance you don't want to stop and scratch and adjust yourself, but also then simultaneously it's kind of training yourself to ignore your impulses. How many times, because it's getting back to like how you would bring this practice into real life, is beginning to listen to your biological impulses. Do you hold your pee? Do you Are you hungry and you don't eat because you got things to do, you don't have time? You're just overriding, overriding, overriding. So that, contributes to the disconnect. So for
Well,
me, this practice is all about bringing your awareness to your body, and and listening to it, but then also not going into story.
going into
Like
what?
there's this story, like
Oh.
having a non-judgmental awareness of it, because a lot of girls want to go, oh, well, my stomach must be hurting because this happened, and my sister, and this and this and this, and it's like you're just hardwiring it. And that's where we have these looping patterns,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
The loop is
so this
wicked.
the loop is wicked, and so to become aware and like not attaching it to any story, and then even if you catch yourself, like it's okay, maybe you want to put like a black screen, like the movie's ended, it's blacked out, like that's what I do, like you know let's drop the
Mm-hmm.
awareness, maybe tuning into your heart. Can you feel your heartbeat?
Hmm. Well, because we're so, I mean, it starts so early with us, like the scratching. Don't scratch. Hold that pose. If you're in a show and you break character to do that, oh, you've ruined the whole scene for everybody. So you're
Mm-hmm.
you're you're beaten into that. But even as a kid, don't speak to you're spoken to.
Oh my
You know,
gosh, yes.
right? All this different stuff that stays with us forever and just wounds us forever. I mean, just keeps people who,
If we allow it to, that's where we
if
have
we
our
allow
power
to,
to choose, but we have to
exactly.
have that awareness, and you have to have the courage to be like, okay, just because it's been like this doesn't mean that it has to continue like this. I have the power to make a change. And it's just creating a new habit,
And I think
which
you're
is
you're being
challenging
able to
sometimes.
expose that, help people expose that because we don't expose it, right? We don't
Mm-hmm.
want to do too much self-analysis because we're afraid to go in that rabbit hole about ourselves. And so we just keep moving along in that same, like you said, in that same loop, right? And with today's pharmaceuticals, the doctors love to prescribe stuff. The
Mm-hmm.
food's so crappy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're fighting a battle that's just really wicked, right? I mean, our bodies and our minds are just getting their asses kicked every day. The overstimulation by social media, the poisonous food, the poisonous water, the air. So, I mean, for you to be able to
Mm-hmm.
bring people in, do you have to do this in person or could you do it Zoom or how do
You could
you?
do in Zoom. You don't even need to see me. It's I'm guiding you through the movements. At sometimes people may want to peek up just because, maybe they weren't like, okay, like I'll say standing feet, soles of your feet connected to to the ground, knees pointing to the sky. Um, and a lot of people kind of, because it's strengthening that listening, like how well do you listen? But you don't, it's a guided process. And, sometimes people like want to see what it looks like, but it could be such a small movement. And so a lot of times, like if I'm showing it on something, I have to kind of exaggerate it, because if I'm just doing it on myself, it may not even look like I'm moving,
Mhm.
because it's just, I'm in tune with my body. I, I mean, that's why I love movement so much, because that's when I'm fully present. I'm not thinking about anything else. Like I'm feeling my body, whether if it feels challenging, or if I feel restriction, or how I can feel the bony landmarks connected to the ground, how I can feel the muscle and even the fascia, how that's all connected. If do I need a little more tension or do I want a little more looseness in my body? Um, so it's a guided process where you visually don't need to see and just be guided and allow your body to move freely. And it's all starts with you, with your willingness to feel. And so that's, the tough, I think, part for some people is that they don't want to feel. And it's okay, because that's the thing of going back to the story part. That's our, matrixy, human putting stories on, it's our perspective, the lens in which we see life through, of whether this is good or bad, classifying those things when that's all. I mean, who said that? It just is what it is, and just kind of taking that as that and allowing yourself to let go of that. Like, it just is what it is. It's okay.
It's so
And to be
hard
with it.
though, but it's so
It
hard.
is.
How long do the sessions take? How long do your treatments take, or your vision? What do you
Well,
call them?
just,
Are they sessions? Are they visualizations? What do you call them?
I mean, I usually call them sessions. Like, I'll do group. We'll do, like, a self-care Saturday or Sunday, a little like wellness day. And so we'll do some talking before of kind of what's going on. And I work with a lot of women who kind of are that like boss babe, and they have chronic stress. They're CEOs of, you know, life, of their house, of their work. So they have a lot on their plate, and they're 35 and plus. A lot of women that I work with are probably like in their 50s, and so they're experiencing different hormonal changes, anxiety, autoimmune, gut issues. Um, and so we just kind of talk about how that, once we arrive in the body and bring our nervous system, when we calm it down, everything starts to settle because we're living in survival mode.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.